Hi, this is Rob Wells from the Law Office of Robert M. Wells. Our office helps landlords deal with their landlord-tenant problems and situations. In this video, we're going to talk about why you shouldn't increase your rent over 10% currently right now as of March 22nd, 2022. Now, before I go into this video, I'm just going to tell you, landlords and property managers, if you're contemplating raising your rent and you need legal advice or some help and guidance on doing that, please feel free to reach out to us below. So I've been getting this question a lot in the last 30 days or so about, Rob, I want to increase our tenant's rent on our tenancy. It's below rental market value. I mean, I could get extra, $500-$600, etc. Or my costs are going up. How much can I increase the rent? And people get a little bit upset when I ask them, they just want a number. They just want a percentage, or, can I raise it 10% or 5%, whatever it is. And I can't give them a straight answer because California has really made this issue complicated within the last 2 years. Part of the reason is landlords' attorneys, when they're advising their clients, need to be know if your property is subject to the Tenants Protection Act, for example, because if you're regulated under the Tenants Protection Act, which is statewide rent control and eviction control, that means you only can raise the rent a certain percentage each year, and that changes year by year. Also, what's throwing us off is the state of emergency declared by the governor's office for COVID-19. Now, the original proclamation issued by Governor Newsom on March 4th, 2020, technically has not been rescinded. Why that's really important as of the date of this video. It may be rescinded at any time as of March, 22nd, 2022. The order hasn't been rescinded. So let me go to why that's important. Because in California, we have a penal code section that is an anti-price gouging statute. It's basically Penal Code 396, and when the governor or the president of the United States or any local or county officials declare a state of emergency within a given area, that triggers the protections inside the anti-price gouging statute. This anti-price gouging statute controls a number of different regulates how much you can sell certain things for or rent certain properties for. It covers all kinds of consumer goods and residential rental real estate. And for this 2-year period of time, since this proclamation of state of emergency has been in effect, the Penal Code 396 protections have been in effect, basically limiting landlords from raising rents more than 10%. There are some limited exceptions, but for the purpose of this video, it's a good rule of thumb not to raise the rent over 10% at this time, because if you do, you could be subject to criminal prosecution. I believe it's a misdemeanor for price gouging under the penal code. Also, what can affect you as well, too, in a civil court is if you illegally raise the rent and later you need to, your tenant doesn't pay rent, and when you issue notices for non-payment of rent, you could actually be technically, your notices could be defective, or, you'll have legal issues in eviction court because you're overcharging for rent because you violated the proclamation of state of emergency. One last thing too, and it depends on your local your place where the property is at, your locality here, is your county or city may have restrictions that are greater than state law. There are some counties and cities that are regulating rental increases due to the proclamation of state of emergency from the state, and the local county or city may have their local state of emergency as well too. So long story short, the governor's order is causing all kinds of mayhem with these emergency protections that were a result of COVID-19 and the pandemic, and they technically haven't been rescinded. yet. So until then, I wouldn't recommend that any landlord raise the rent more than 10%. And landlords subject to the Tenants Protection Act, you basically need to check to make sure what the change in CPI index is as well, because that fluctuates year by year. So landlords, if you are facing a situation where you need to increase the rent, it might be a good idea to talk about these things, to figure out what rules apply to you within your city or locality, because basically there's state law, then there are the emergency proclamations circulated in the city and county your property may be in. So it's a convoluted question. It's a loaded question. It's not simple right now until all these proclamations of emergency are lifted and rescinded. Then the question may become easier over, after that's done. So if you're facing this situation, you may want to talk with someone. If you want to talk with us, our information is down below. Until then, make it a great day. We'll see you next time. Thanks.